Hey guys! So I am back here today to do another book haul, and this is more of a collective one since Christmas till now. So some of these books I got with money that I had gotten from Christmas, and then basically anything else that I've bought since then. So I have quite a bit of books, so we're just going to jump right into this so we can hurry and get started. So the first book I picked up is Reboot by Amy Tintera. I have been wanting this book for the longest time, and I think I keep putting it off because it was pretty expensive when it first came out, and I mean most books are when they're hardback, but sometimes you can get them for a pretty good deal through Amazon or other bookstores. So I know this follows the storyline of a girl who is a reboot, and that means basically once someone dies, they are dead for a certain period of time before they come back as a reboot. And the longer that they stay dead is basically determines how much humanity they have left when they turn into a reboot. So the shorter you're dead, the more human you are likely to be. And I think it mentions that the main character in this woke up 178 minutes after she died, and so it is the main character's job to train all the new reboots into, you know, being a reboot, if that makes sense. So she stumbles across this guy who is basically dead for a very short period of time, so he's practically still human, and he kind of shakes things up a bit, and the higher-ups notice that he's shaking it up and want him either to learn how to be a reboot or they want him killed. So the main character's job is to try to get him on the track, and I guess something happens between the two of them. They get intrigued by each other. I don't know, but it sounds really good, so I'm really excited to give this one a shot. The next book I picked up is Boy Nobody by Allison Zadoff. Now I haven't seen this one anywhere on BookTube, really. I've never heard of this, nothing, and I really like it when I could find a read like that you know, hasn't been completely hyped up, so I could go into this kind of open-minded. But I saw this at Barnes & Noble, and I was reading the synopsis, and it kind of sounded really intriguing, and it's about this boy who I guess has no memory of his past, either that or he's just very dull to it and doesn't want to remember, something along the lines. It's not very clear. But basically he's sent out on different missions to different towns to fit into this new school each time and make a group of friends, because within this group of friends there's someone that they are targeting. It's usually like a parent of theirs. So once he gets close with these group of friends, it's his job to take out either someone in this friendship or their parents. Basically there's a reason why he's transferred to these new towns, to take someone out. And so finally he ends up in this town where he's supposed to take out either the governor or the senator, something like that, and he ends up befriending this senator's daughter, and he kind of starts questioning as why these people want them taken out, because the governor seems really nice, and he's kind of questioning his past and how he got into this whole thing. So I think it sounds really good. I mean, I love good assassin tales. I mean, who doesn't? But I think it just sounds really good, so I can't wait to get onto this one, hopefully soon. The next book I picked up is Across the Universe by Beth Revis. Again, this is another book that has been hyped up here on BookTube, and I feel really embarrassed to mention this, but the reason I hadn't picked this up was I didn't know what it was about. But I know there was a movie that came out that, like, a long time ago that was called Across the Universe. I think it was like a musical type thing, but it looked really stupid. And I thought that it was based from this book. So I'm like, the movie looked really dumb. It just didn't seem like anything I'd be interested in. So I decided when everyone was talking about it in spaceships and whatnot, and I'm like, I don't remember that in the movie trailer. So I decided to read the synopsis of this and discovered they were completely different. So I picked this one up because it sounded really good, and I've heard really amazing things about it. Basically, what I gather that this one is about is this girl and her family are on a spaceship, and they are like programmed, I think, to wake up 300 years in the future, but someone unplugs the cell that she's in and it wakes her up, and she discovers that someone had tried to kill her. I have heard really good things about this, so I'm excited to read it, and I'm kind of glad I don't know what this is about because I'm really excited to go into this one a little bit blind. So the next book I picked up is I Hunt Killers by Barry Lyga. I have had my eye on this for a while. I've seen a few people haul this themselves, but I hadn't actually heard of too many people reading it yet, so I wanted to kind of read it and get my own take. It sounds interesting. I'll just read you the little blurb on the back because I think it will explain what this is about better than I could. It was a beautiful day. It was a beautiful field except for the body. Jazz is the son of the world's most infamous serial killer, and for dear old dad, take your son to work day was year-round. Jazz has witnessed crime scenes the way cops only wish they could, from the criminal's point of view. Now with bodies piling up in the sleepy town of Lobos Nod, Jazz must work with the police to prove that murder doesn't run in the family. So I think that sounds really good. I love books like this, so I just know I have a feeling I will like this. And I think the sequel came out, I don't know when, but I saw it, and so I knew I had to pick this up so I can see if this is a series that I would jump into. The next book I picked up is The Unwritten Rule by Elizabeth Scott. I have not read any books by this author, but I see them all the time on like Goodreads and Amazon and in the bookstore, so I kind of wanted to give one of hers a shot. It's a really short book, like really short, so this should take me no time at all to read and get a feel for this. But basically the gist of what I gathered on this is it's about a girl starting to develop feelings for her best friend's boyfriend. I'm really curious to read this one because I have my own opinions on this subject when, you know, best friends and boyfriends and whatnot, but so maybe this can change my mind on my opinion of it. I'm not sure, but I mean, it's girl code. So the next book I picked up is Slide by Jill Hathaway. My good friend here on BookTube, Carrie at Carrie for Life, mentioned this as one of her favorite books that she had read last year. So when she was explaining what it was about, this sounded like it was too good to pass up, and she just raved about it. So I knew I had to pick this up and give it a shot. Basically, it's about this girl who can slip into the minds of other people. Right? So one day a girl shows up dead and everyone kind of rolls it off as a suicide. However, the main character knows that it was not a suicide and it was a murder because she had slipped into the mind of the murderer while they were standing over her dead body with the knife. So I think basically this whole story, I don't know if she knows who the killer is or if she does and she's trying to uncover it. But yeah, so it sounds really good, and I want to get to this one really soon because it sounds amazing. The next book I picked up is Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This has been so hyped up through BookTube lately, and I'm not one that has read a lot of high fantasy books. I mean, I have read a few fantasy books and I've enjoyed them, but nothing like this, I don't think. So I'm really excited to kind of delve into this world and see how I'll like it. All I know about this book is basically it's about this girl who is trying to win her freedom back, and in order to do that, she has to enter into this kind of like competition type thing with 23 other killers and has to take them all out. And once she does that, she will become the king's champion or something like that. So all this takes place at this castle where the king and the prince and all them live. And this sounds like a really bad synopsis of this book. And I'm sure people who have read this are hating me right now, but I don't know too much about it yet. So I'm really intrigued. I know it mentions that there's this evil force going on in the palace and it's starting to kill the competitors. So that sounds really intriguing to me, so I really want to read this and see what all this hype is about and if this is something I will like and hopefully get me into this genre a little bit more. The next book I picked up is Red by Allison Cherry. This book sounds really interesting just because the whole concept of it just sounds really silly, but you kind of got to read those really out there books sometimes, and so I felt like this would be a good one to try. And basically what I gather from this is there is a town where basically everyone is red-headed, and if you were not red-headed, you were not cool, you were not liked, like I'm guessing you were just basically shunned. And so you're following the storyline of this girl who is a bottled redhead who basically dyes her hair red but doesn't tell anybody, and she is on track to win this big pageant and win this money so she can go to an art school. And while this is happening, someone knows her secret and starts blackmailing her and is threatening to expose her. So I just think this whole concept sounds really interesting. I have never heard anything like this, so we'll give this one a shot and see how it goes. The next book I picked up is Premeditated by Jocelyn L. McQueen. Now, I had seen this book back on Goodreads last year, kind of towards the beginning of the year, and I read the synopsis and I fell in love with it, and I've had this on my TBR, and once the date was nearing for this, I kept looking for it, and then the book came out, and I've been seeing a lot of not so amazing reviews for it, so now I'm kind of worried. And really, like, it's not even that like big of a detailed synopsis. Like, basically all they give you is this little blurb. They might have a little bit more of a detailed one, but that's like just a couple words. It sounds like really intriguing. It says, a week ago, Dina's cousin Claire cut her wrists. 5 days ago, Dina found Claire's diary and discovered why. 3 days ago, Dina stopped crying and came up with a plan. 2 days ago, she stitched her piercings and bleached the black dye from her hair. Yesterday, knee socks and a plaid uniform became a predator's camouflage. Today, Dina will find the boy who broke Claire. By tomorrow, he'll wish he were dead. I don't know, I just thought that sounded really cool, like an awesome like revenge type plot. But the next book I picked up is Cruel by Jennifer Albin. Now, I wish I could give you guys a sound synopsis on this, but every time I read the synopsis, and I've read it like 500 times, it just confuses me on what it's talking about. But I've heard a lot of good things about this book, so I decided to pick it up, and I just love the cover, like all those colors, and it just, it's gorgeous. So we'll give this a shot, and hopefully after I read this I can give you guys a better synopsis on what it's about. The next book I picked up is Angelfall by Susan E. This book I have also been really hyped up on BookTube lately, and I remember when it first came out I thought it sounded interesting, but I didn't know if I would like it, and then I've seen a lot of people raving about this, so I decided why not. It's a really short book, so I figured what's the harm in trying it out. I know this deals with fallen angels, and one of the main character's sister gets taken and she's trying to get her back, and she has to work together with this fallen angel who I'm guessing has something wrong with his wings or something like that. And it's just, yeah, it sounds interesting, and I haven't read too many fallen angel stories yet. I've only read like the Mortal Instruments that has, you know, their thing going on. But that's not what the whole story is about, so it'll be interesting to see how this will play out. This next book I picked up is These Broken Stars by Amy Kaufman and Megan Spooner. This sounds really interesting. I've been hearing everyone basically compares this to Titanic, but in space. So that kind of sounds interesting. I know it deals with this spaceship that gets like thrown off in the universe somewhere, and these two, a girl and a guy, are the only ones who survived, and they have to work together to get themselves out of this situation, and that's all I really know about it. So I'm really excited. I think that this looks like an amazing book, and I just think this cover is gorgeous. I love it, and I love it when you get a hardback and they're like the big hardbacks, you know what I mean? Like they're really long. So this next book I picked up basically solely because I had watched a review on it by Cassidy Voinche, and that is Dark Lover by J.R. Ward. Now this is definitely a used book. It's got a tear on it, but I found it for really cheap, so I figured I'll just give it a shot, and if I really like the series, maybe I'll get some better copies, I don't know. But I know this is an adult book, and it's about vampires and a certain like brotherhood, so I think it sounds really interesting, and from her review I thought it just, you know, it sold me on it, so I figured I had to give this first book a try because it sounds like something I would like, and I'm kind of excited to read more of like different vampire stories from what, you know, we've traditionally gotten in young adults, so I'm excited to see this take on them. And lastly, one of my most excited things that I've gotten is Wreck This Journal. I have been wanting one of these for the longest time, for a very, very, very long time, and I finally got one, and I'm excited to finally crack into this and destroy it. Alright, so that's been my very large collective book haul of 2014 so far. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know down in the comments below if you guys have read any of these books and which ones you would recommend me to start on first. And yeah, thank you guys for sticking through this whole thing till the end, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!